On the 4th of March 2016, Kendrick Lamar released Untitled Unmastered, an album consisting of 8 songs that were cut from his previous work a year prior, to Pimp, Volatile. Most people saw it as just a collection of songs that didn't fit into Pimp, Volatile and nothing particularly noteworthy. The whole presentation of the album makes it seem that way. The title of the album is literally Untitled, and the album cover is just green with the title of the album on the upper left. Even the songs weren't given the courtesy of titles, but instead given a number as well as the date they were made. But what if I told you that Untitled Unmastered is more than just some scraps from an album? That it's a hidden masterpiece that deserves just as much attention as the studio albums. But the most surprising part is that it almost didn't even exist. 3 of these tracks were performed on late night talk shows and at the 2016 Grammy Awards, but the studio versions weren't supposed to be released, until an unlikely figure willed the album into existence. After watching the Grammy performance, LeBron James tweeted at Kendrick's record label asking for the studio versions. This album was released a week after the tweet. When I was first going through Kendrick's discography, I listened to the album and honestly didn't think much of it. I thought it was good, but none of the songs stuck out to me a lot on the first listen, but the more I revisited it, the more convinced I am that this album is just as good as his other real albums. In this video, I'll be breaking down each track to show you why I think that.
Like a little lamb, play in your hair.
The first song off the album starts with an unsettling and uncomfortable tone. From the first few seconds, Kendrick thrusts us into a claustrophobic soundscape, forcing us to confront the raw, ugly underbelly of human sin. But why the sexual tone? Kendrick most likely started the song off in a sexual nature to make the listener uncomfortable and to remind us of the sins that people commit every day. The song serves as a warning to humanity that if we continue to sin, Judgment Day or the apocalypse will soon come to punish us. Except in this vision of the future, Judgment Day isn't just looming, it's here. His apocalyptic vision ties directly into To Pimp a Butterfly's finale. In Mortal Man, Kendrick asks Tupac to explain the metaphor of the ground.
The ground is going to open up and swallow the evil. I see, and the ground is a symbol for the poor people. Right. The poor people is going to open up this whole world and swallow up the rich people.
Tupac's metaphor symbolizes the oppressed rising to devour the corrupt elite. But Kendrick expands this into something even more terrifying, a divine reckoning where no one escapes scrutiny. Kendrick raps about the ground cracking open and swallowing young women. He illustrates how not even innocence can escape through his mention of babies and daisies burning. Sinners like murderers, rapists, and pedophiles scramble like rats and cower in fear over what will happen to them.
Preachers touching no boys, run for cover, the paranoid. Rapists and murderers hurdle alleys, valleys and high places turn into death.
Through the lyrics, he paints a vivid picture of the end of the world. The whole world is in absolute chaos. Planes are falling out of the sky, trains are going off track, and oceans are evaporating. Used to be Christians are begging for forgiveness, and people are wishing for one last indulgence, a last taste of allure. Kendrick's rapping over the jittery drums and dissonant piano gives the whole song a chaotic and frantic feeling. God then turns to ask Kendrick directly what good deeds he performed in his lifetime.
Then I heard whatever you did for me, I fell to my knees, put out my resume, that dated back to June 17, 1987, my paperwork was like a receipt.
He argues with God about how he should be let into heaven because of all the good deeds he's done over his life. By the outro to the song, he emphasizes his belief that modern Christianity is hypocritical. He disagrees that you can live life however you want, so long as you ask for forgiveness before death. He argues that none of the fame, fortune, or fun you had on earth will mean anything on Judgment Day.
Pimp, pimp. Hooray!
Untitled 2 continues the theme of Kendrick's confliction between his life in Compton and his life as a world-renowned global superstar that was prevalent all throughout To Pimp a Butterfly. It sees Kendrick on a tightrope strung between 2 worlds.
Can't pick a side the Gemini, private sides if we live in that.
Kendrick, born on June 17th, belongs to the Gemini zodiac sign, which represents duality. He invokes his zodiac sign not as a quirk, but as a curse. The Gemini, split into twin selves, haunts him. He can't decide between his 2 lives because even though becoming famous has separated him from his family, his wealth and his status is what lets him help those in need and give voice to his people.
Get God on the phone, said it won't be long.
In the chorus, Kendrick calls God for advice and God tells him it won't be long, a reference to the previous song and its Judgment Day. This song partly serves as an extension of the first song. He sees everything falling apart around him in the entertainment industry and seeks guidance from a higher power. He wants to repent for his actions, such as his reckless spending, the hollow indulgences, and his fear of relapsing into the person he once was.
I just got a ring. Spent it all on me. Diamonds all over. Did a lot of dumb shit in my past. Lord forgive me, hoping I don't relapse.
Yet amid the chaos, a revelation cracks through. His label, Top Dog Entertainment, becomes a lifeline. He realizes that the only way he can find balance between the industry and his friends in Compton he left behind is through his record label. He finds solace in his team and promises to ride with them, the same as he would for his people in Compton. The third song has 4 different minorities give Kendrick a piece of themselves, telling him how he can live his life better. The 4 communities imprint their truths onto him. He first draws on Asian culture and religion, who advocate humility and respect.
A peace of mind, that's what the Asian said.
Kendrick channels Eastern philosophies of humility and balance, a rebuke to Western excess where self-care is unimportant in a grind-obsessed culture. He then draws on Indian culture, believes ambiguous if he is referring to Native Americans or the people of India.
A piece of land, that's what the Indians said.
Land is central to many native cultures due to its religious prominence. On the third verse, he refers to African American culture.
A piece of pussy, that's what the black man said.
His use of this phrase could be alluding to the over-sexualization of Western culture. The final verse is the most integral to the song's message, as while the first 3 verses were about minorities in the United States, the last phrase Kendrick raps about is the majority, or the white man. The white man doesn't offer advice, but instead demands.
A piece of minds, that's what the white man wanted when I rhyme, telling me that he's selling me just for $10.99.
While the marginalized groups share nuggets of wisdom, the white gaze sees only profit, creativity extracted, packaged, and sold back. Kendrick achieved huge success without selling out to the music industry, but he feels like the white man only sees his talent as dollar signs and cents. The first 3 communities give fragments of cultural truth, while the 4th simply takes.
They say the government mislead the youth.
Untitled 4 has one of the most memorable features on the album with SZA and is also the shortest song on the album. The song serves as somewhat of an interlude and advocates free thinking. SZA preaches while Kendrick whispers a monologue that represents the struggle of balancing newfound fame with his past life. The whispering found in the song gives the song somewhat of an ASMR and claustrophobic feeling, mirroring his suffocation under fame's weight. In an interview, Terrace Martin talked about the song.
That was done around the same week we did For Free. I don't know why that didn't make it onto the original album. My only memory of that song is that we were eating heavy ramen, drinking organic vodka and 60-year-old cognac. We were on our low-key, dim candles type shit.
This track explores power disparities and social inequality. But the track isn't just about power imbalances. It's a feverish descent into the psyche of a man drowning in America's rot. Kendrick plays a character who is overwhelmed with anxiety and is resorting to alcohol and drugs to help relieve and numb the stress in his life.
See, I'm living with anxiety, ducking that sobriety.
His faith, once a lifeline, now hangs severed. Churches offering him no comfort, only God's silence. He decides to take matters into his own hands. Throughout the verse, Kendrick is reckless and unhinged. He stalks a man through rain-slicked streets until he gets to his house, watches him drop his briefcase, hell-bent on blowing the man's brains. But when the man's son leaps into his arms, a glimpse of innocence in the gloom, he falters.
Cut on the engine and sped off in the rain, I'm gone.
His hesitation to shoot is a flicker of humanity in a soul already half swallowed by darkness. It speaks to the humanity that still remains even in the most terrible people. Although he cannot see where he's going wrong, he does understand he is far from the path of righteousness. This whole scenario has 2 interpretations. One is the more literal explanation, but there's also a more metaphorical interpretation. The stalker could be a personification of the man's depression itself. Depression plans to cause the father to shoot himself, but his son's presence delays the attempt and depression speeds off because the son gives him something to live for. On the final verse, J-Rock poses the question to whether or not everything discussed in the song actually occurred, or if it was just a manifestation of Kendrick's inner turmoil.
But don't be scared of me, girl. I can't explain. I know it's foreign to you. I know it's hard to believe. God, give me.
Untitled 6 isn't just a love song, it's an anthem for self-love, about the embracing of one's unique traits and a call to be unapologetically yourself. Written in the form of a plea to a lover, Kendrick describes himself to her. He describes his uniqueness positively and uses words usually associated with art in order to reframe his flaws. He encourages the listener to be who they are regardless of whatever people think of you.
I recommend every inch of your lunatic ways. Praise the Lord. You teach the kids how to be themselves and plenty more.
He considers this woman his hero because she's the only one who can tolerate his lunatic ways. She becomes a partner in chaos who teaches him to wear his eccentricities like armor. Kendrick finds sanctuary from the mask fame forces him to wear, reveling in a relationship that never dulls. No matter how much time passes, it always feels like the first time when he's with her.
You and me are the same. Hopefully I'm invited. Hopefully you don't change.
It's a rare moment of joy in an album that's often heavy with introspection. This moment of positivity feels refreshing but is short-lived. This song, with its jazzy grooves and playful cadence, feels almost like a mirage. By the next track, the warmth fades. The industry's shadows creep back in, bringing us back to the realities of the industry and its temptations.
Hate won't get you as this. Levitate, 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 levitate.
The seventh song is a 3-act tragedy disguised as a rapper's high. The track captures the arc of an emotional rush, the initial elation, the inflated confidence, and coming down. In the first part, Kendrick slips into the mindset of a hollowed out rapper. He shows us their perspective when they are thinking of creating a song with little depth just for money. A rapper trading depth for dollar signs and creativity for clout. Someone who doesn't want any problems, only money and fame.
Me don't want problem. Me don't want problem. Me don't want trick. Me don't want trick. Me do want dollars. Me do want dollars.
In the second part of the song, he adapts to a more braggadocious side to display the inflated confidence of an emotional rush.
I feel like Pacino and Godfather, I'm charged.
But the bravado isn't inspiring, it's tragic. Every bar reeks of a man trying to convince himself he's untouchable, even as the ground cracks beneath him. Just when the listener might expect how the journey is about to conclude, the track takes an unexpected turn. The track abruptly strips itself bare, a raw, unmastered studio outtake. The third part of the song is completely unmastered, giving it an unfinished and incomplete feel. Just as you're bracing for resolution, it evaporates. I believe that this wasn't a decision made out of time constraints, however, as the unfinished sound mirrors the emptiness of the experience Kendrick just glorified. The song serves as a reminder that every peak is followed by a descent. But just when you think Kendrick's done, he hits us with one final gut punch. Untitled 8 forces us to confront struggle in a different perspective, challenging everything we thought we knew. Untitled 8 closes the album not with a resolution, but with a reckoning. On the final song of the album, Kendrick finds himself with all the money he could ever wish for from his previous albums, but he finds that they can't buy happiness. In this song, a voice from Cape Town challenges him, accusing him of indulging in what can only be described as first world problems. The critic argues that there was nothing special or different about the struggle he and his friends had gone through in Compton, and that all those things are insignificant compared to the daily hardships of those living without clean water or shelter in a third world country.
Projects ain't shit. I live in a hub, bitch. I'm living to keep off. You live in a pay rent. I prayed my way through by waiting on outlet.
This exchange was likely sparked by Kendrick's own visit to Cape Town in 2014, which provided him with a new perspective on hardship. Witnessing firsthand the harsher realities of life there, Kendrick reflects on the tendency of many to take their privileges for granted, with many refusing to believe that they have what it takes to get somewhere. They take the easy way out and may justify it by arguing that they were dealt a bad hand and blaming fate or divine will for their circumstances. He criticizes those who give in to negative stereotypes and chase easy money, condemning those who weaponize hardship as an excuse for complacency. He argues that it makes it harder for the people who are trying to live and act right.
In today's day and age, we practice the self-pity of taking the easy way out.
The Cape Town verse isn't a dismissal of Kendrick's pain, it's a call to recognize that suffering wears countless masks. By the time Untitled Unmastered comes to a close, it's clear that this is more than just a collection of leftovers. It's a deeply thought-provoking project that explores success, identity, and social issues with the same complexity as Kendrick's main albums. It may not be a traditional studio album, but its themes, structure, and execution make it just as essential as anything else in its discography. So if you're sleeping on Untitled Unmastered, do yourself a favor and give it another listen. If you've made it to the end of the video, I'd appreciate it if you could like and subscribe. This is only my second type of video in this format, so it would be really helpful if you guys could give me feedback in the comments.